apologize for we hope to have an open mic for about an hour, and with the rain and the late start, we're kind of backed up against things, and the band has to start pretty close to 3, so we're going to have to squeeze in the open mic time. But we do have some people lined up, so we'll go as long as we can. We're going to put about a 3-minute limit on folks to take advantage of the opportunity to express their views. So let's go.
Good afternoon as everybody is departing. My name is Harris Himes, and one thing, I am a Marine. I had the privilege of commanding a tank platoon on the DMZ of Vietnam, 67-68, the Tet Offensive, Khe Sanh, Con Thien, Dong Ha, Camp Carroll, all of that business. And I want to tell you that the men I commanded would have been very comfortable with those who have been called the Band of Brothers. But I am here today also. I'm a pastor in Montana. And what I would like to remind us all of is while we're talking about what the Declaration meant, remember that all of these things came from our Creator. My call today, though, is Gina has quoted 2 Chronicles 7:14 to some degree. I would like to remind us that when we look around, I ask you this question: is our country healed or not? It is not. 2 Chronicles 7:14 says, if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and seek my face and pray and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven and I will forgive their sins and heal their land. Our land is not healed. It means that we, His people, have not done our job. What I would like to do today is remind the church and the pastors not to be bullied by this tax-exempt status that keeps people from endorsing candidates. The church must stand up, and we need the pastors who are called the watchmen on the wall to stand in the pulpit and tell the people, you cannot vote for somebody like Obama, who is the most radical, pro-abortion, pro-homosexual president, and expect this country to be blessed. When we have, in a representative form of government, 50 million babies who have been killed since Roe v. Wade, how can we ask God to bless this country? When we have 5 states proclaiming that homosexual marriage is okay, how can we ask those things? But how can we ask when also the church, when it doesn't speak out because of tax-exempt status, who is the church worshiping? Money. The church has to refrain from this wicked way. We have not rendered unto God what is His. God told Job in chapter 41, He said, everything under heaven is mine. Now, would you please explain to me how everything does not include something as important as government? Yet, the church has not rendered unto government what is God's. Do you realize that 25% of so-called evangelicals voted for Obama and 56% of Catholics supported Obama, and the pulpits remained silent when they could have connected the dots? Proposition 8 in California passed 52 to 48%. All the pastors had to do was point out the connection. Oh, by the way, Obama stands for homosexual marriage. I don't care what he said on his website. That is true, and it was up to us to do that, and we did not do that. Can you imagine what would have happened if we had carried California? Can you imagine what the numbers of votes at those 25% had been taken away and given to McCain and Palin, the 56% of the Catholic vote? The time is now for the church to arise, because if we do not do it as his people, all this other stuff is fluff. God says that our economy will thrive if we obey his judgments and commandments. We will thrive in the cities, in the country, and if we do not obey, he will curse us. What do you think is going on here? It is time for the church to arise, and it is time for the pastors to speak up. We have wonderful speakers here. I have no idea how many pastors are here, but we need the church to turn out. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Before we move on to turn the microphone over to the next person, there's a little doggy tied up back there, and apparently it looks pretty hot, and nobody around it. I didn't see it. Somebody told me about this. So if you tied up a puppy, please go give it some water and get it out of the sun. Thanks.
I'm kind of embarrassed to be speaking, but I felt compelled to do so. I wanted, for two reasons. I wanted to hear the sound of my saying this. I am Aurora Miller from St. Louis County. I'm the daughter of Tech Sergeant Frank Otto Miller, who served in 3 wars. And I'm the daughter of Aurora C. Miller, who drove the rivets into planes, who fought the Axis in World War II. I'm an intensive care nurse who may lose my job because of Obama, and you may get low-tech people taking care of you in your old age. 5 years ago, I was bathing the body of a man, an old man, who was within hours of dying. Now, I didn't want to get out of bed this morning because it was raining very hard, but I remembered this. I bathed his body and I said, "Sir, you are missing almost all of your toes." And he said, "Well, yes, I lost them at the Battle of the Bulge." He said, "No one will ever remember the Battle of the Bulge." And he cried. And I said, "I remember the Battle of the Bulge. You were in the 101st Airborne." And he said, I was. And he sobbed. And I called another nurse over who was 23 years old. And she said, "I remember the Battle of the Bulge. And I remember what you did for me." And I promised that man I would never, ever forget him. And I am here today to say, while I cannot say his name because I'm a nurse, I will remember him to the day I die. And I ask that you remember him as well. And that you hold near to your heart a copy of the Constitution of the United States, as I do, every day of my life. That I take to work and answer the questions of those who doubt what this country is about. I thank you.